Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I am doing exceedingly well. Today was crazy at work, but I cannot think of a better way to end my crazy day than to record on a wonderful film called X-Men Dark Phoenix.
It's not even called X-Men Dark Phoenix. They dropped the X-Men. Didn't you get the memo?
Oh, yeah, Dark Phoenix. Just Dark Phoenix.
Whatever. I think it's called X-Men Dark Phoenix in overseas territories. I'm not really sure why they dropped it, because it's definitely an X-Men movie, but we'll talk about it. Don't you worry.
Maybe they don't want...
Don't you worry.
Maybe Disney does not want...
I think it was all before the acquisition, to be fair, but... We'll get into it. Come on. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves because Dark Phoenix is a film that just demands our full attention, and I don't want to just half-ass it right now. Right at the top. I think that would be doing it a major disservice.
Yeah, right.
Given the amount of love and attention that went into the crafting of this film, I really feel like we owe it to it. You know,
it deserves its due.
It does. It does. Can you believe something? This is episode 99.
It's a lot of episodes.
We were doing a little bit of a math in our heads, and we were thinking it's... Well, I don't know. We didn't do an exact figure, but we're figuring it's close to 200 hours that we've actually released in podcast form, which isn't to say the hours that we spent on art, the hours that I've spent on editing and the website designing and stuff like that. So we've if nothing else, we've put some love and attention and such into this podcast, I feel, and hopefully our listeners agree. Hopefully our listeners have stuck with us for 99, or if they've jumped in later in the game, they're still with us. That would be cool too, because we've come a long way. We've definitely come a long way, I will say. I went back and listened to part of episode 1.
Did you?
A few weeks ago? Yeah, just out of curiosity. It was when we were doing the Aladdin episode, because we talked about the Jafar casting. So that's why. I went back.
Right. Okay.
And I could just tell it was a different caliber. We were very raw, very untrained, very formal, and now we're just a bunch of drunk assholes. It's basically what it is. So there you go.
Love it.
Maybe we've actually gotten worse, huh? This is a revelation.
What are you currently drinking, and out of what?
Oh, I'm drinking wine out of a bag, and don't get me wrong. It's none of that bullshit boxed wine shit. I don't do that. Shit.
It's a proper wine bag.
This is bottled wine poured into a wine bag, so I can drink it out of the bag, because it's the best way to drink a wine, I've found.
Well, if you don't have a wine bag, the second best way is just straight out of the bottle.
Straight out of the bottle. That's pretty legit too. I respect that move. I mean, that's a power move, I feel.
It's how we like to ingest our alcohol, so.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, drinking wines out of bags, I did it on Game of Thrones Season 6 episode that we did probably a couple weeks ago. But that episode's now on the regular feed. Hopefully some people have had a chance to tune in. I'm not going to say everyone, because I don't think everyone's probably with us for the entirety of the Game of Thrones long haul, but fuck it, man. We're going for it. We're doing it. For the few people that are still with us, that are still listening to our coverage of the Game of Thrones series. So, Season 6 is up there. Enjoy that. We're going to be doing Season 7 very soon, and then Season 8 will follow that very soon as well. So, we're almost there. We've actually watched everything. We can finally say we've seen everything. At this point, it's literally just sitting down, taking the time to record and hash it out. Because we could just shit out, quick Season 7, a quick Season 8 episode, but, we've done a lot with, I think, the series up to this point, and even if our feelings
despite
exactly,
whatever our feelings may be.
Yes, thank you very much. Despite what our feelings may be, I feel like we owe it to the people that, have stuck with us for now months listening to our Game of Thrones coverage. I feel like we don't want to pull up Benioff and Weiss, let's put it that way, in terms of how we handle the final seasons. But we'll let you figure out what that actually means when we talk about it on those episodes coming out very soon to a podcast directory near you. So look forward to that. Dark Phoenix. We're here to talk Dark Phoenix. We can get into a little bit of Dark Phoenix type things going on right now. If you've got any sort of fun facts, or just one's fine.
Story.
It's up to you.
I had a fun fact.
Past tense.
I had one. I can remember looking one up, but I can't quite remember what it was. I forgot it along with the movie. This is
you're doing a bit, aren't you? You're doing a bit, aren't you? Is that what's happening here?
No, I legitimately. Well, I didn't actually look up a fun fact, so yeah, I guess I'm doing a bit.
You're doing a bit. That's okay. I respect that. Well, I don't have a fun fact, so I'm good with that.
We're skipping it. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live. Let's do news. This should be a pretty breezy episode. I'm hoping it's a breezy episode because what is there to say about Dark Phoenix? Stay tuned, and we'll find out. We'll all find out at the same time because I'm going to have to spend some time conjuring what I'd like to say about Dark Phoenix. Not to say that it's bad or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Let's do news. We got a little bit of news this week. Not too much, I don't think. Nothing, super groundbreaking, but we got some cool shit. On tap. I can talk about Ghostbusters 3 at the top, which I think is probably more my shit than it is your shit. I think we talked about this, this new Ghostbusters film that's happening, and I think we've kind of already established that the nostalgia for Ghostbusters runs more through me than it does through you, which is to say it perhaps runs exclusively through me. But that's okay. I'm fucking excited to talk about Ghostbusters. Maybe my excitement will rub off on you, and maybe you'll want to, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it didn't connect with me as a child for some reason, but maybe it will as an adult. I don't know. Anyway, so Ghostbusters 3, it sounds like they're getting the band back together. I think that's the big news. We have word that Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd will all be involved in the sequel, which, again, it is a sequel, apparently completely unrelated to the reboot that did not go over so well with the internet populace. It was fine. Again, I think I've said, my opinions on it multiple times. I thought it was fine, just not particularly funny, But it is what it is. I'm looking forward to this new one that they're coming out, which is supposed to be a direct sequel to 2, which means that, Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd would be playing their respective roles from the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2, which I think is very cool. Slated for a July 2020 release date. And it's going to be directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of the director of the first Ghostbusters film, Ivan Reitman. I think that's very cool. Unfortunately, Harold Ramis passed away a few years back, so he will not be returning for this film. I think that's probably safe to say. I guess it wouldn't be the first time we've revived dead actors to be in films, but I don't think that's going to happen here. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with it.
You may have just said it, and I was just reading on some other news, so I apologize if you didn't just say it.
That's quite all right.
Was Sigourney Weaver ever in a Ghostbusters movie?
Yeah, she was in both.
She was in both of them.
Yeah, she might have been. No, I think she was actually. I think she did a cameo in the reboot as well, but I don't remember what she did. Most of them did cameos in the reboot, but they weren't playing their original roles. What's that?
What was her original role?
Her original role was that she. So do you remember like Zool? Does that like ring a bell for you at all?
Is that the guy in the painting?
No, that's Vigo the Carpathian. That's Ghostbusters 2. Okay. So Ghostbusters 1, do you know the dog statues that like come to life? Do you remember that at all?
The gatekeeper and the key holder?
The keymaster and the gatekeeper. So basically there's
right.
Zool. Zool is like, I think, a demon that basically, so like her... I remember there's a scene in the beginning where like all the eggs start cracking and like cooking on the fucking counter and shit. Okay. And she opens the fridge and she sees like the Temple of Zool or whatever it is, and basically I think she gets possessed. She gets possessed by Zool, and then there's the keymaster and the gatekeeper. I think she's the gatekeeper, I think, and then Louis Tully, who is the Rick Moranis character. Becomes the keymaster, and so once they put those two together, it unleashes this massive fucking crazy shit over New York. What's that?
He's the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids guy?
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that being really funny.
Yeah. So that's kind of...
Are you the gatekeeper?
That's more or less the plot of Ghostbusters 1. And so shit happen, shit pops off at the end in New York, and then there's the big Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which is like, Ray, don't think about anything. And and they're like, you thought about something, didn't you? I was like, I thought about the most innocent thing that I could think of. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and there's a big fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Walking
anyway,
through the streets. I remember that.
Anyway,
okay.
I'm hoping that my excitement is somewhat rubbing off on you because I really enjoy Ghostbusters. I haven't seen it in a minute, so I'm probably a little bit sketched with some of those details. But
it might be pretty funny. I might need to pour myself some wine and watch.
Yeah, I know. I think. Oh, I want to say they just put the first two out on 4K like very recently. So if you maybe score that on the cheap. I know I have them on Blu-ray, like a 1 and 2 set. But they're worth watching. Maybe when this is closer to coming out, maybe that'll be a good time to revisit them. Perhaps 2020. This one's coming out July 2020. I think who else is in this? It's got Stranger Things in it. Stranger Things is in it. Main Stranger Things kid, and then Carrie Coon and the girl that played Little Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel, McKenna Grace.
All right.
So it's Stranger Things Ghostbusters ish, with some of the original cast coming back. So there you go. That's
cool.
what I have for you. What do you have for me?
Well, I have a serious problem because we have a running gag in this podcast where I mispronounce people's names. Generally speaking, I can recover and I know how to properly say their names. But one of my favorite directors, or someone who is becoming one of my favorite directors, I'm permanently fucked up from it because I made fun of his name once, and now it's the only way I can see his name, and that's Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve.
Well, you got his name half right, so that you're not totally fucking it up.
But Villeneuve, I know, is completely wrong.
Villeneuve is definitely very wrong.
What's his name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. Okay. So I look at it, and all I can ever see now is Villeneuve. Like,
Villeneuve,
oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I think you called him Dennis for a while too.
Yeah,
so just to add insult to injury,
Anyways,
so Dennis Villeneuve / Denis Villeneuve.
Yes, he is directing he's penciled in to direct a pilot for a show based on the Benin Gesserit.
I don't know what any of that means. And
Okay,
I don't
it's
think
going to be called
what this is.
Benin Gesserit. It's called Dune: The Sisterhood. Is
okay,
what it's
I don't
gonna be
think you
called.
mentioned the word Dune. I might have missed it, but I think
I was trying to allude to it. I was trying to be
pretty
cool.
key word because it's the franchise that's attached to this.
It's trying to be cool.
Gotcha.
All right. But it's called Dune Sisterhood. He's directing the pilot episode, and it's going to be directly tied to his upcoming film Dune, and it's based off of the Benin Gesserit, which I'm sure you don't know, but the Benin Gesserit are responsible for they do like selective breeding in order to have like the pinnacle of humanity, and that's how you get like the main character from Dune. Which is pretty cool. So I don't know what it's going to be about because I don't know all about Dune. I don't claim to be an expert. I just watched the Sting one and I read the first 100 pages of the book. And that's where I'm at with Dune. But that sounds pretty cool. And I think Warner Brothers is fucking diving in deep on this shit.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I that's what I like about this announcement is this is well ahead of the film's release. So it's clear that like they're not sending it out to die because I know they're spending a lot of money on it.
Especially
to be honest,
casting.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Fucking cast is ridiculous. But I have a bad feeling about its box office performance. I'm just putting it out there now. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I absolutely hope I'm wrong. But I could really see this being such a niche project that it doesn't have mass market appeal.
I think they're gonna I think the marketing team is gonna grab a hold of it.
I think it's the Blade Runner 2049 effect of like fucking incredible movie, like such a stunning movie, and then no one saw it, and I was just like, well, what the fuck? And I'm worried that that's what's going to happen here because I know that Denny is going to put out a fucking amazing product. I know he's passionate about the Dune franchise. Obviously, he's fucking passionate about it if he's doing a goddamn spinoff, like this already. I just hope that this means that WB Warner is going all in, like you said. Like I think that would be great if they're really going to commit to it, through thick and thin. To say, hey, we think we have something really special on our hands, and maybe Denis Villeneuve is the one that wants to do this shit, and we're going to give him the keys to the kingdom and let him do it. We're going to give him the money to do it and let him run with it. That sounds fucking awesome. Like, let the man do what he wants.
Game of Thrones in space, and he's a super talented fucking guy. So, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty fucking good, I think.
Yeah, this sounds cool. I don't know anything about Dune other than very basic details, which mostly is probably what you've relayed to me on this podcast. And from what I understand, this is an original-ish story, like not specifically based off of anything in the novels, other than the character, the Bene Gesserit basically being, an order of women from the novels. But it's really fascinating sounding. It sounds very, very cool. I'm really interested to see what they have cooked up, both with the movie and with this TV show.
I would imagine they had to market it from really cool. I think they're just going to market the shit out of the cast in order to try to get mainstream appeal, I think.
Well, they don't need to sell us. Obviously, that's true. So they have that going for them, step one. But yeah, I want to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I hope it makes, millions, billions of dollars. I think that would be great, because that would just mean more. And assuming it's good, which usually if it's good, that means more people are going to go see it. Not always true, but I think that just sets up for lots of really interesting, cool things in the future potentially. So I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
I bloody hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, we got some, I don't know, interesting-ish things happening in the Frozen 2 official trailer. Which I gotta say, despite being a trailer, I felt like told us less about the movie than the teaser did. I mean, it's a little bit more plot details, like Elsa, you got to do this shit because of reasons, and that's pretty much it though. Like that's kind of just that's all I got out of this.
I tell you what I got out of it. I got out of it that the stakes seem like they're really fucking big.
Yeah, but we don't know a lot still.
We don't know what the stakes are.
I'm surprised by how little they've spooled out for us. I think that's a good thing, because I don't want to see the movie in the trailer, which obviously happens a lot. Happened with Dark Phoenix, for example. But I'm interested in it. And I think visually it looks great. I really love the first Frozen. I think I said that when the teaser came out. I think it's great. I think it's something that it looks like this isn't just making the same movie over again, which I think is a good sign. But we really don't. I still feel like we really just don't know a whole lot about like what the actual plot of this is, other than, hey, you like these characters, you like Anna, you like Elsa, you like Kristoff, you like Olaf, and they're just going to go on some fucking adventure with seemingly massive stakes and stuff, and go into some different geographies and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't need more than this. I think maybe I started out on somewhat of a negative note in how I sounded about it. I just to say I was expecting to be spoon-fed a lot about this movie, and I'm surprised by how restrained they've been. Probably because they know they don't need to. It's the Avengers Endgame approach of like, people ate this shit up the first time around. Of course, they're going to eat it up the second time around. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like, why show your hand if you don't need to? You know?
And you don't need to with Frozen.
And I don't think you need to, just like you didn't have to do it with Avengers. I hope the payoff is similar. Avengers, there was a lot of surprises, even for people that watched every bit of content that came out prior to its release. There was still a lot of stuff that they held back on. Yeah. And I get the sense that we ain't seen nothing yet. You know what I mean? So we will see a lot more November 22nd of 2019, because presumably the whole movie will play at that point. Maybe they'll put Olaf's Frozen Adventure in front of it again. Wouldn't that be something?
God damn, I hope not. Jesus Christ. Fucking 30 minutes.
25 minutes of glory.
What's wrong with them? Please no, never again.
Yeah. Well, Toy Story 4 is right around the corner. They've announced there's no short in front of it, which to me feels like a reaction to people being fucking livid over the fact that they put a whole fucking TV episode in front of Coco, which was a bonkers choice, by the way.
That was a bad misstep.
That was not a good choice. So yes, anyways.
We got a trailer for a thing that I did not think would ever happen. I don't know why it's happening. But I don't know, speaking of showing your hand, I don't know what the fuck this movie's about.
What movie is it? Tell me.
It's called Doctor Sleep, and it's based off of. Looks like it's a direct sequel to The Shining.
Well, it is a direct sequel to The Shining.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely go see this day one. Shining's like one of my favorite movies, but I don't know what you're gonna do with the sequel.
That's true. Well, it's obviously many, many years later. We do know that because it's following Danny Torrance, who is now not a little boy anymore, and he looks a lot like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Or Christopher Robin.
Or Christopher Robin, that's true. he does look a bit like both of them. Suspicious that one.
Christopher Robin, you can see
or he looks a bit like the Black Mask, doesn't he?
Oh,
forgot about that movie happening, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You wish I didn't remind you, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't remember that. Thank you. But I tell you what, I think he's a pretty great actor, and I think
that's true. I think he's great.
Who's directing this movie? Do you know?
It is directed by Mike Flanagan, who I think has some horror chops under his belt prior to this. I'm looking it up right now. So he did the Gerald's Game Netflix one, so another Stephen King adaptation. He did Ouija, Origin of Evil, which I think was pretty all right, in spite of the first one being shit. He did Oculus with Karen Gillan, I know back in the day, which I thought was solid, as I recall. And Hush, which... a
lot of people like that one. I know.
I think people. Yeah, that one seemed to be well regarded overall. I didn't see it, so I can't tell you if that's.
If you're telling me you're making a Shining remake, I don't necessarily just want a horror guy to pin it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean it's based off a book.
The Shining?
It's based off of a book by Stephen. No, it's based off of the book Dr. Sleep by Stephen King.
Which is a sequel to The Shining?
Which is a sequel to The Shining.
Okay.
It's a recent book. 2013 is when it was published, so it
wow.
was much like this is coming well after Kubrick's film. This is, the novel itself was published well after the fact. I don't really know anything about it other than, I mean, I guess much like you, it's kind of just like, really? Like, okay, it's an interesting... You're gonna pull that thread again? That's okay. Sure, why not? You know,
let's see what you got.
And so I kind of agree with you on the one hand, but I felt like visually it looks very
pretty
interesting.
Compelling.
I like the cast. You know, obviously we talked about Ewan McGregor, but we can't forget about Leggy Bay, Rebecca Ferguson. Mm-hmm. You know,
she looked pretty creepy.
Yeah. So I thought based on the trailer. I don't know if it's going to be good based off the trailer, but I felt like there was enough intrigue to it that, I'm curious about it. I know it's pretty close to coming out too. I mean, it's a quick turnaround with this one. I think it's an October release. No, I'm sorry. That's confusing. I think it's either late October or early November. Wikipedia says October 30th worldwide, but November 8th for United States, which I'm pretty sure is part of worldwide in a way. But what are you going to do? Okay, yeah, November 8th. So, anyway. So there you have it. There you have it. It's Dr. Sleep. The world will shine again, is what they say.
The world will shine again, he says.
I guess we'll find out what that means when it comes out. All right, well, we've got a last couple bits of news, and we got a couple trailers for some TV shows on the horizon. I'll start with mine, which I believe is a show you have not watched, if I'm not mistaken.
I have not watched it, no. You are...
Okay. The show in question is Glow, The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Did you watch the trailer?
I did watch it, and I listened to it because I thought that the soundtrack there for that trailer was pretty nice. Kind of like that song.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the first couple seasons have had like really great soundtracks throughout. A lot of throwback tracks, which work really well with the kind of the vibe that they've set up. I mostly put this in here. I mean, I think the trailer looks great. I think season 3 looks great. I'm looking forward to it. August 9th is when it's debuting, so it's a good almost birthday present for me. But I really am bringing it up because I know you hadn't seen it. I'm mostly saying it as a general recommendation to everyone, not specifically to you. Of course, it includes you. If you find the time to watch it and feel like doing it at any point, I think you'll enjoy it a lot. It's pretty short. I think it's 8 to 10 episodes seasons and a half hour apiece. So it's a very bingeable show. But I'm just issuing a general recommendation to all of our listeners. I think Glow is fucking phenomenal, and I think It's one of my favorite like Netflix originals, which I haven't. I mean, there's like a million of those fucking shows now, so I haven't seen a lot of them, but this one is an absolute blast. And like I said, I think maybe I'm a little bit tilted more towards it because it's such a bingeable show because of the length. It doesn't ever feel like it overstays its welcome with anything. But I think the cast is also legitimately great. Alison Brie, Betty Gilpin, and Mark Maron. 3 of them crush it. Supporting cast is also great. Less recognizable names and stuff like that. But it's just super fun, super colorful. The music, much like it was the case with this trailer, is always on point. Yeah, highly recommended. So if anyone has Netflix, I think everyone has Netflix these days. It's definitely worth a watch. Give it at least a few episodes. I mean, at worst you're burning a couple hours of time, and you're almost halfway through a season, maybe literally halfway through a season. So, and if you're not hooked, I don't know what's going to change your mind, but at least you gave it a go.
Yeah.
So that's what I have on Glow. We had that one more trailer. What was that other trailer that I just talked about? Tell me what it is. Tell me all about it.
The Boys.
The Boys.
I think The Boys looks absolutely incredible. This is an Amazon exclusive show, apparently.
It is, yeah.
Starring Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd himself. Also Bones from Star Trek. Carl Urban.
That's it. And it looks like he's like a person that fucking assassinates superheroes. But apparently superheroes are being framed as like careless assholes.
Well, it doesn't seem like well, I guess it depends on how you're using the word framed, as in like in this world they just are, or like it seems like they are just outright just pieces of shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that like they're being framed. I mean, they're just
right. Okay,
within this snippet here, it looks like the superheroes just a bunch of assholes. The opening sequence is a guy with superhuman speed happened to like fucking explode somebody, runs into him. Yeah,
explode someone by just accidentally running into him. Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
So he doesn't appear to be having it. Dredd does not appear to like the superheroes.
He doesn't. Yeah, no. He's gone helmetless this time, but it looks like he's gonna take him down with a bloody vengeance in this one as well. It sounds like you're higher on this than I am.
I think it looks pretty funny. I think it looks pretty great.
I don't know. I got strong Hellboy vibes out of this one.
Did you really?
Yeah. Or also that what was that fucking Maz one? The trailer for that. I'm talking about the Netflix one with Maz Mikkelsen in it. It was the aesthetic reminds me of that. I forgot. It was Polar. Is that what
I think so. Yeah, that was awful.
I didn't see it.
Terrible.
But I'm getting strong vibes of that. But at the same time, I like the cast. At least I like fucking Carl Urban. I don't know who the fuck else is in this, but I like Carl Urban, so I'll say that. And I know that this is based off of a comic book by Garth Ennis, who did Preacher, which also has a kind of similar, very irreverent kind of tone, and is actually partially produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who produced the Preacher series on AMC, which I watched the first season of and didn't love, but I enjoyed.
Face, right?
That's the one with Arseface. That's correct. I enjoyed the weirdness of it, and this one looks like it's it's going for it, in its own sort of way. So I'd be curious to see how it is received, or maybe I'll let you do the.
I'll take the dive on it. I like
and let me know how it is. Yeah,
streaming the shows.
It's a trailer.
Looks kind of crazy.
I can exclusively confirm that it's a trailer. So if nothing else, it's got that going for it. But that's it for the news. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, that's it, dude. That's it. Let's hop into the Dark Phoenix. Let's get this shit done.
Let's hop into the Dark Phoenix, written and directed by Simon Kinberg. I mean, he's putting it all on the line, baby. He's putting his heart and soul into this bad boy, writing in it and directing in it. Oh man. It stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Sophie Turner, Ty Sheridan, Alexandra Shipp, Cody Smith-McPhee, Evan Peters, and Jessica Chastain. In this, the X-Men must face the full power of the Phoenix Force after a mission in space goes wrong.
It sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty compelling.
It does. It makes it sound interesting. It does. Do you want to talk box office for this? I know you want to talk box office for this because we got a scandal a brewing here.
Ooh.
We got a bombs all dropping ton a brewing here.
Oh man,
this is a massive bomb. Oh man, Oh, man. I don't know that we've seen a bomb like this. And maybe Hellboy, I guess. It's probably the closest comparison. And in other ways, perhaps, too. We'll see. It is not doing well. It's not doing well, shall we say.
What did it open up with?
It opened with a $32.8 million opening weekend, which was good for number 2, Behind the Secret Life of Pets 2. As of recording, it sits at. I'm gonna get the live update for you. Get the live update. It's gonna tick up probably about 500,000. Yeah, 52. Not even 52 million. 52.1 million is where it sits at as of recording this. And bear in mind that is through its second weekend. We haven't even talked about the second weekend. We got some news on that front. Currently, as of recording this, it sits at $204.5 million worldwide. I don't have a production budget listed for this, but I believe there was an article I saw on Yahoo that suggested this is looking at $100 million loss in terms of oh my god, $200 million budget? What the fuck?
Oh man.
How?
Well, they made $4 million.
I know there's a lot of reshoots. Maybe that's a fuck me. Well, they're not making that money back. That's not how this works. But weekend 2 was a colossal disaster. 72.6% drop from its first weekend take, which
it went up and then just poof.
As you might expect, is a record for superhero films. In fact, I believe it is the second worst drop of all time for like a wide release, staying in wide release from weekend 1 to weekend 2. I want to say it was one of the 50 Shades movies that had a worse drop. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the sequels. I think there was 2 sequels. Could be wrong, but I think it was either the second or the third one that had like a massive 74-75% drop, somewhere in that range. Just fucking cratered after its first weekend. And it's crazy because it didn't make a lot of money. It's easily the lowest grossing X-Men film, quote unquote X-Men film, whatever the fuck. Even if you include the Wolverine spinoffs, Logan, anything like that, Deadpool, this is absurdly low compared to anything else in the franchise. Bafflingly low. I think the lowest opening prior to this, I'm taking a look now, was the Wolverine, which was the second one, the one in Japan, which opened with $53 million. So that made a good $20 million more, and that was 6 years ago. And even, Deadpool 2 came out last year. It's not like the X-Men franchise is, I wouldn't say totally dead in the water. I mean, it is now, but Deadpool 2 made $125 million. Deadpool 2 made almost $100 million more in one weekend than Dark Phoenix did. I mean, it's really actually kind of wild that it bombed so hard. I mean, I guess I kind of get it. Every time the trailer came on in front of a movie I was watching, I just kind of groaned. I was just like, all right, I'll just look at my phone. I just can't be fucked. And I guess that was a common sentiment with everyone just being like, I just don't care. I just don't care.
You want to know a fun fact?
Oh, coming in late into the game with a fun fact. Tell me.
I actually fact-checked your biggest second weekend drops. Wide releases that fell 60% or more from 1982 to present off of Box Office Mojo. Is that appropriate? Is that appropriate sourcing for information?
Yeah, I think a wide is considered 2,000 screens plus. So let me know if I'm right or wrong.
Number 1 is Collide. Opening weekend was 1.5 million, and it had an 88.5% drop.
Yeah, I mean, what was the theater count though? Does it show that?
Theaters, 1,000 theaters.
Yeah, I think like probably 2,000 plus is probably what you need to look at.
Okay,
because that made a million, and its first weekend, that made nothing out the gate.
Okay, the biggest. Let's see here. The biggest theater drop, the with the most theater count, the biggest percent change was The Dark Knight Rises, was 61.4%.
No, well, this was 70%, so that's wrong.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't think I can.
I know, Batman v Superman did almost 70%. I believe Fantastic Four, Four Stick, for the uninformed.
Well, I mean, that
70-ish percent
with the most theaters. This had that had the largest theater count.
I gotcha. Just outright most theater count. All right, I get that. Yeah, but I know 50 Shades had probably 3,000 plus. This probably had at least 3,000 plus.
Let's see here.
So it's I don't.
I was curious. And apparently there's a lot of fucking movies that bomb.
Yeah.
So it had 3,700 theaters and had, according to this, it's got a 71.5% drop.
Yeah, okay. I might be wrong on my... Like, I see Friday the 13th had an 80% drop after a $40 million opening weekend. So that's comparable. And that's worse, obviously. So I don't know what I was looking at. There was probably some, like, metric for, like, maybe it made above a certain money threshold. But even then, that would count. So I don't know. Apparently, I don't know my shit. Apparently, I don't know it. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of fucking... A lot of shit to look.
No, I say maybe it might have been even the first 50 Shades. I'm looking at the first 50 Shades, and that dropped 74% from 85 million to 22 in its second weekend. So,
right, yeah.
I'm just you know, just operating off the cuff, drinking my bag of wine. You know, just
that's it, dude. That's it.
I'm off my game apparently. I don't know what it is.
Second weekend. Let's see. Oh, if you click second week, the highest second weekend. Well, this is stupid. Doesn't make any difference. I'm just looking up statistics now. The largest opening weekend was Star Wars The Last Jedi. It opened at 220 million, but its second weekend, it only did 71 million.
Yeah, I know that one dropped pretty precipitously. Didn't have the Force Awakens drop, legs. Yeah,
anyways,
still better than the 72.6% though, isn't it? In a way. Also, it made $200 million out the gate. This isn't at $200 million through 2 weeks. So there you go.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. We can look
all
at
that aside. All the box office numbers aside. Whatever we flubbed, whatever we got right, it doesn't matter. This is not making a lot of money. Could you offer an explanation for why that might be? Could you?
I could.
Could you muster that?
I can.
Tell me.
I think it's because people went and saw it, and they forgot that they watched it when they left the theater, and they just didn't tell anybody that they went and saw it because they had a lapse in memory. They literally just went in the movie theater, drooled on themselves.
There's a 2 hour hole in their brain.
That's it.
They blacked out for a couple hours of time.
What did I do? I can't remember. Fuck. All right. Well, we're just gonna go home. Maybe grab some food or something.
It's interesting you say that. Well, let me ask you. When did you watch this? Like how many days ago? Just look for the 2 hour block of time. You're just like, I can't account for my whereabouts at this time. Where was I? I drove somewhere, and then I was somewhere for 2 hours, and then I drove back, but I don't remember the in between.
Saturday. I saw it on Saturday, I think. Friday or Saturday.
Only a couple days ago. We're thinking.
I legitimately can't remember.
I saw this yesterday. And I'm so glad that you brought up the fact that no one seems to remember it, because I saw it yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, that was yesterday? And I was completely sober when I watched this film. I didn't drink anything yesterday at all. I
had a couple glasses of wine when I watched it.
I went out of my way to see it because I knew we were going to talk about it, you know, and then I saw the movie, I think. Can't recall quite all that well, but I think I was there. Again, I'm plugging in the gaps here. And I went back home and I just went about my merry business, and now I'm here today and I'm just like, fuck, what was this movie about? What happened in it? And so I had to jog my memory a bit. I had to I had to read the Wikipedia synopsis. I'm like, oh, did that happen? Huh. All right. Good for you, Simon Kinberg. Good for you for making
a completely fucking forgettable
making the
movie.
Most forgettable film of all time, perhaps. And I will say, I brought up Hellboy multiple times already. I don't think this is a horrible film.
No,
I just think I think the biggest crime of this film is that it's so fucking boring. And nothing fucking happens in this movie of any consequence. It is just a nothing movie through and through. You know, Hellboy
was bad.
Hellboy was egregiously bad. Like, it made your skin crawl because of how bad it was. You're just like, I would rather be anywhere but here. This one, I was just like, it just, you know, you just entered like a trance, you know, and you're just like, okay, you know, mouth agape, kind of just like I don't, who cares, you know? But it was never for me. This movie was, I mean, there was some parts in this that were goofy as shit. I will say that. We can talk about it in spoilers. I have them written down because I think you'll agree. But I found that for the most part, it wasn't even super incompetently made. It was just paint by the numbers in every way possible. And like, some of the actors were pretty good, and some were like fine, and some were just just there, and some were kind of bad at times, and it was just nothing. There was just nothing to any of the plot. There's nothing to any of these characters. There was nothing to, like, oh my God, so what a shocking development that they showed in the trailer.
There wasn't anything in there that was like, oh fuck, that's real bad. Like Godzilla was not a well-made movie, but
no, but it was at least exciting.
Yeah,
and cool. And enjoyable. Like, this wasn't an enjoyable film, but it wasn't a miserable experience. I didn't think it was a miserable experience. I didn't hate myself for like going out of my way to spend a couple hours with it, but at the same time, I walked away
with nothing.
I don't want to say that it was arguably dumber. I was just like, nothing. This has made no impact on me in any sort of way whatsoever. And that's actually kind of unique. I don't know the last time I've seen a film that just left me completely, like, not even numb, like, like not angry in any sort of way. Just like, That's and I perhaps that was a product of expectations, where I walked into this movie and I'm like, I'm expecting bad. And what I got was bad, but not so bad that it pissed me off, or so bad that I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of fun.
But it wasn't good enough to convert your expectations.
And it wasn't like surprising in any way, where I was just like, oh, fuck, I didn't expect that. It was beat by beat, the trailer. It was the trailer,
That's what it was.
With some extended sequences, and I literally, I'd seen the movie walking in. Maybe that's why it just made no impact, because I'm like, I've seen this movie. And actually, I have seen this movie. It came out in 2006. It was called X-Men: The Last Stand.
And I would actually think that X-Men: The Last Stand has more, like, be it what it is,
more excitement to it.
Be what it is. I felt something when I watched that movie.
Well, we had a rousing time watching that movie. It was
pretty. Yeah, it was a pretty excellent, memorable time watching that movie. I'm not gonna say the movie was good, because it certainly wasn't.
No.
But
it
was. I felt something for it, which I would say, if you're gonna make something, if you're gonna take the time to make something, I would almost rather hate it than feel absolutely nothing for it. I mean, I feel like
the biggest crime for this movie is that it's just boring. It leaves no impact whatsoever. And for better or for worse, at least I can bitch about Hellboy for the rest of time.
Right.
This one, someone's going to ask me about it. I mean, I could barely remember it today. If someone asked me about this in like a month, I'd be like, I've never even heard of that movie.
Yeah, it's
X-Men: The Last Stand. Are you talking about that one? The one with Famke, where she played Jean Grey. Is that the one?
Yeah,
is that the one you're talking about?
Get out of my head, Charles. Didn't he say that? Or no, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Isn't that what he says?
I'm the says I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Yeah, he does do that bit, which is pretty good.
And then Colossus is gonna rape you. He's carrying the TV. You remember that?
Yeah. That wasn't in the movie. We should clarify. That was, I think, commentary added on top of the film when we watched it. We saw it with I think it was like a theater. It was like a employee screening type thing. And so we had a lot of people just commenting on the film, and it was a trash film. So like, I think if you're trying to legitimately enjoy a film, that could be extremely distracting and piss you off. But when a movie's as bad as that, I could have used a fucking commentary track on top of Dark Phoenix. That would have been great. I think that would have added a lot to this.
Yeah.
Because there's just some movement. There's two moments I can think of in particular that were just the way they were shot were so fucking goofy. And I don't think they were intended to be. They were supposed to be serious moments, and I just actually three. I'm gonna say three moments where I just kind of blurted out, and I just chuckled to myself. Not like a rousing sort of laugh, like I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. It was just like a really? And I chuckled with the three other people in the cinema with me on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, let's hop into that. I think we can probably. I'm curious to know what they are. I don't have a whole lot.
Let's table that, because I do have some other thoughts.
Oh, okay, all right. We get more than I got.
I just say, just for non-spoilers, just for anyone, because I would. Well, I'm going to be honest. I'd imagine most people listening to this probably haven't seen the film, so non-spoilers is helpful in that regard. But at the same time, those same people probably will just listen to spoilers because they also don't give a fuck. But I will say, for those that don't want to get totally spoiled on everything, don't watch the trailer if you've already seen the trailer. Sorry. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. I just felt like everything was so small potatoes with this one, and I was blown away by the scale of this in the sense that there's nothing groundbreaking in this. Like, the biggest thing is the third act with like the train stuff, again, in the trailer. But like there's like a New York sequence in the middle-ish, and it just felt so like small. Like, this is a $200 million. It felt like Justice League-esque in some ways, where it was just like, oh my god, where's all this money going? Like, is Jennifer Lawrence's like paycheck, is she getting half of that? I don't know.
Where was there in New York?
I don't know.
I can't remember the New York setting.
That's a good. Oh my! I just remember them being in New York. It's when.
Is it the train ride?
No, it was before that. It's when a certain train gets pulled out from underground. Do you remember that whole sequence around that? Oh, I know what was happening. It's when. We'll talk about it in spoilers. I don't want to.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
we'll table that. We'll add that as a fourth moment. We'll get back to in spoilers. I will say, if there's one saving grace of this film, it's that McAvoy and Fassbender continue to be the best thing about the current iteration of the X-Men franchise. I think McAvoy in particular is the only one that has any sort of anything to work with. I'm not even sure why Magneto's in this movie, other than Michael Fassbender's great, and obviously you want more of Michael Fassbender, but if you're going to bring Michael Fassbender in, give him fucking something to do. Is my opinion on that. Sophie Turner kind of oscillates between being okay and sometimes outright bad. I still think she struggles with the American accent, but I thought she was better here than she was in Apocalypse, which, as a side note, was fucking terrible. And this is easily better than Apocalypse. Like, without a doubt, like, Apocalypse was so bad. Like, that was just like that was not Hellboy bad, but like closer to that. You know what I mean?
I don't want to watch any more X-Men movies.
I'm done. Just take them away. Take them away. Oh, we got New Mutants coming out next year. Don't you worry about it.
I don't want to watch New Mutants. I'm done with the X-Men. No more.
I don't want it. Take it away.
Oh, she's my queen. I don't want it.
She's my queen. I don't want it. I don't want it. Well, speaking of not queens or whatever you want, I don't get why we're supposed to care about Jean Grey. Like, this is the second time they've absolutely fucked the Dark Phoenix storyline, the Phoenix storyline in general, because they've been in such a rush to get to like this big comic book storyline without investing in any sort of anything. Like, who gives a fuck up? Like, the only characters I would argue that anyone probably has any sort of anything for in this franchise as it currently stands is Xavier and Magneto, and maybe Mystique. Maybe, but Jennifer Lawrence checked out years ago, and I checked out alongside her, so pretty much Days of Future Past on. I mean, Apocalypse, she didn't give a shit. I don't blame her at all. But like, at the same time, it's just kind of like, if none of these people can be fucked, why should we? Like, I just, it's weird. I mean, it's kind of emblematic of the whole Fox X-Men thing in general, where like, they've mostly had no idea what they're doing, and the few times they have had any idea what they're doing is kind of when they just go weird with it. Like, Logan is legitimately like fucking great out of nowhere, but they've never gotten close to Logan in a while. Like, even I didn't love Deadpool 2. I thought the first one was better.
It was fun. It was at least fun. It was pretty good. I liked it. First Class felt like a resurgence, and then Days of Future Past kind of felt like it was building on that, and like, okay, we've stepped over the bad will that The Last Stand and Origins left with us, and then Apocalypse happened. I'm just like, oh, they've learned nothing. And then this happens, and you're like, yes, they've continued to learn absolutely nothing. I tell you what, though, I can't remember the last things. I can remember. I guess it was Glass. James McAvoy is pretty good. I like him.
I totally agree. I think he's great,
and so is Michael Fassbender. I like both.
They're both
guys.
Great.
Yeah,
they're legitimately great. I think easily the two best performers in this movie and probably the franchise in general since the First Class iteration on. So,
like both those guys, independently of their performances in the show.
No, I agree.
I like seeing them in things. I agree. Them. Yeah. So
absolutely.
That's all I have.
So
from.
Dialogue is just so bland, and then the villain. Anyway, recommendation. I'm going to say streaming on this one. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I just don't think it's that bad that like I don't think it extends into this so bad that someone should pay you to watch it. Like, and I'm not even saying like as soon as it drops on Netflix or whatever, like immediately search it out. Like, I just mean like if you have any sort of morbid curiosity about it, like don't waste your time going to theaters, obviously. Don't pay money for it other than the money that you already put towards the streaming service so you can watch Glow, so you can watch The Boys, etc. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Or Dune, the Sisterhood, or whatever. It's not going to be on the WB one, but you know, like that's kind of where I'm at with it. Maybe it's on Disney Plus because technically it would be under the Fox umbrella. I guess they'd probably go on Hulu because they probably didn't want to dilute the brand or whatever. But it's not so bad that I have to like just totally naysay it. It's just a fucking nothing movie. So don't spend any more money than you have to. And I would say only give it a look if there's anything. Like, maybe you fucking love Sansa Stark and you know you're the biggest Sophie Turner stan in the world. Still just wait till Netflix or whatever, man. Just don't do it to yourself.
So for this movie, I'm going to create my own. I'm going to create an own independent recommendation.
That's unheard of. That is unprecedented. Breaking the rules.
When I had cable, I don't have cable anymore. But when I had cable,
I see what's happening here. This is kind of okay. All right, I think I like what this. I think I'd actually agree with what you're going to go for. But please,
there were the shows that come on cable, and you can like clean your room with it or go cook dinner with it. It's just playing in the background. You're not really not paying any attention to it, and you're not paying. You're paying for cable, but you're channel surfing. If you happen to have cable and it happens to pop up on FX, Dark Phoenix, and you want to put it on and like go cook dinner or like, just like veg around the house or do whatever, maybe talk on the phone while it's playing on in the background. You can just kind of like mindlessly, you will gain just as much insight and you will gain just as much understanding of this movie watching it mindlessly while you cook dinner, or watching it mindlessly while you run the vacuum, or talking on the phone, or text messaging and not watching the screen, just listening to it like in the background as white noise. And it doesn't require full attention. It's not a full attention movie, but it's not so bad to where wait till somebody pays you to pay it or to watch it. I think it's a safe bet just to play it on cable. I think I like that. I might even take it one step further and say this is like you went out of town for the weekend and you booked a hotel. Yeah.
And you're at the hotel on Saturday night. You got back from a night out. You're a little buzzed still. You can't quite go to bed. And lo and behold, Dark Phoenix is on. It's on FX. And it's about 30 minutes in. You're like, I haven't seen this yet. I don't know if I should, wait until I could see it from the beginning. Don't worry about it.
Just put that shit on and fall asleep with it on TV.
Don't worry about it. Just say, you know what? This is comfort food. This is okay. This is okay.
Just let it happen.
Just be okay with it.
Just let it happen.
That's the way to do it. That's the ideal Dark Phoenix viewing scenario. Buzzed at a hotel, watching part of it
with slight insomnia. You treat it almost like you watch infomercials.
Maybe you wear glasses and you're like, I don't want to take my, if I take my glasses off, I'm probably going to fall asleep, but I won't be able to see the TV very well. That's fine.
Just take your glasses off.
Just take your glasses off. It's fine. Drift off to sleep. Drift off to doctor sleep.
That's it.
Oh my.
That's it.
Let's do spoilers. Full spoilers for, what's this movie? Dark Phoenix.
That's Phoenix.
The one. Dark Phoenix. X-Men: The Last Stand 2.0. So I had my 4 moments. I think I pinpointed 4 moments. So first moment, this is we'll go to the goofy moments in a bit. So the New York thing is where Jean is with Jessica Chastain, and Jessica Chastain is starting to absorb her energy from her, the Phoenix Force or whatever. And then I think Beast is all pissed and shit because she killed Mystique or whatever. And so he's teamed up with Magneto. Magneto, like they're all gonna go fucking kill Jean. And then Nightcrawler teleports the rest of the X-Men in to be like, no, don't kill her or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
But it's just so goofy because it's like Cyclops just like shooting beams and shit, and it all just looks so cheap and boring. And it's just like Beast is like jumping around like an idiot for no reason. And I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. Like this, like that was like the one moment for me that was.
Didn't he reflect his beam off like a windshield or something?
That sounds right. That sounds right. It happened at some point. I think he knocks like a chick off a train, something like that, at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
I don't know. Anyway, so that was the New York thing, which again was just fucking okay. It was just the way it was shot was just like, wow, this is fucking amateur hour. Like the action framing was just the most boring. It was like Iron Fist like level choreography is what I would say about it, except in a $200 million film, not something that was shat out in a few weeks' time by Scott Buck and company. Well, Scott Buck and Simon Kinberg might get along pretty well.
What happens when a toad gets struck by lightning?
Remember that?
Well, they didn't bring that one back. We can get
the same thing that happens to everything else.
Hey, you know who gets credit for that is old Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon gets credit for that line. He claims that the line reading was a bit off. I'm not going to say that line ever would have worked, but I do believe him that the line reading was probably a little bit off. Sorry, Hallie. Sorry. Was it okay? So there's three I think really goofy shit, goofy moments in this, and not even like a good goofy
humorous
like Goofy the dog, like
right.
I was gonna do a goofy laugh. Gorsh. There we go. Something's wrong here. Yuck. Gorsh. I had to find it. I had to find it within me. I don't think that was quite it, but it was close enough that I think people get it. So some real goofy ass shit happening in this, and I feel like you're not vibing with me right now. But I think once I remind you of these things, you're gonna feel it.
I can't remember them.
I haven't said them yet. So
yeah, okay, go
but
ahead.
I think once I do, you're going to remember them, and you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I did chuckle a bit in the theater." So the first is the guy whose mutant power is to fight people with his dreadlocks.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that guy. I remember that. I was sitting there drinking my wine because I got these 2 glasses of wine, and I'm sitting there drinking the wine. I got my popcorn in my lap, and the moment he breaks into action, his hair starts going crazy and spit up in my cup. I'm taking a sip. Yeah. Okay, I remember that now. Yeah.
Oh God.
He was a Brotherhood, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't know if this one got as much laughs from you, but I had a good laugh with it. So there's the moment where the 2 helicopters land at apparently what was supposed to be Genosha, and it's Magneto and Jean having this goofy ass fucking jazz hands war.
He fucking throws them.
It's just like a minute straight of them like, with their hands. I'm just like,
this is weird. Look at this. I remember thinking this is fucking hysterical. I did laugh. I laughed at it. It's going like this.
Andrew's reenacting things for everyone. Oh no. Oh man, he's crushing it. He's pulling a real fast bender. We got a real fast bender over here. Oh man,
that was pretty stupid. I'll agree with you.
Oh god! All right, so I'm glad you got a kick out of that one. Now I think the last one you're also gonna like.
Out of his neck, and
he's going for it, man. He's going for it. The last one, I think you're gonna get a kick out of this one too. I think you're gonna get a kick out of the part where Jean's broken bad. She's Dark Phoenix baby, and she lifts Charles Xavier out of his wheelchair and walks him on up the stairs.
Jean, no, don't do it. And then it wasn't
oh no.
It was pretty funny. I did laugh at that too. You're right. I remember that. I remember them fucking. They stayed on the shot forever. It's like they didn't move from him. They literally watched him. They kept the camera on him every step. Gene, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh man.
So in all seriousness, all fucking around aside, how many tears did you shed when Mystique died?
Oh, none. I shed more tears watching Dreadlocks and Magneto.
Guy.
I shed more tears with that.
Oh god, that guy lost the mutant gene pool. I think he lost. He lost the lottery there.
Your power is you got stretchy hairs.
Yeah, the Mystique stuff. I mean, they told you in the trailer. Simon Kinberg literally gave interviews ahead of the movie's release, being like, "Yeah, she's dead." And we're like, "What?
Really?"
Oh man,
I had no idea she was gonna die, but it's one of those.
They basically showed in the trailer and basically showed her funeral in the trailer, and everyone was just like, "Well, she's not in the other shots." Yeah, so basically everyone put two and two together with that one, and that had no emotional impact whatsoever, even though I think it was supposed to. Also, something I enjoyed was that they knew Quicksilver was the most overpowered motherfucker in the universe, so they broke every bone in his body like 20 minutes into the movie and just basically sidelined him until the end when he was fine. I thought that was clever.
Pretty good.
I thought that was very clever.
You know what I was thinking? I will tell you this.
Tell me.
X-Men Quicksilver is the Quicksilver we deserve in the Marvel cinematics. You know what I'm saying? Like they took the Quicksilver, they took the Avengers Quicksilver, gets riddled up with bullets, dead, right? And this Quicksilver's bad, and he's supposed to be a fucking dude like that. He's not gonna die by bullets.
Well, he is and he isn't. I mean, basically, I think someone did the calculations on what he would have done in either Days of Future Past or Apocalypse, and basically he'd breaking every. I mean, obviously he's it's made up or whatever, but like he was running so fast that like he was faster than anything. Like some ridiculously absurd amount that like if he could actually physically do that within this world, he should never lose ever. Like it's
yeah, right.
Like I feel at least like the Age of Ultron Quicksilver was obviously vulnerable. Like he was fast, but not like world breaking fast. Like this Quicksilver is world breaking. Is kind of what the problem
he's not Flash fast, is what you're saying.
No, he's faster than the Flash. This Quicksilver.
This X-Men Quicksilver is quicker than the Flash.
Yeah,
but Avengers Quicksilver is not quicker than the Flash.
No, he's definitely slower than the Flash. Yeah, the Age of Ultron one is
100%.
So I felt like Age of Ultron, they tried to moderate it a little bit. Maybe that's because they knew they were just going to kill him at the end of the movie, and they're like, well, if we make him ridiculously overpowered, then that'll make that seem even sillier than maybe it already is. So I don't really like this Quicksilver. I'm going to be honest. I don't like the personality of it. Like none of it works for me. I thought even the Days of Future Past scene was fun. It was like a good set piece in that. And then the Apocalypse one, Apocalypse one, they tried to do it again, but it was just like, this is the same. We've seen this. Like it's the same fucking thing.
I don't remember it.
And so it was kind of just like, can't just do the same thing over and over again. So at least they kind of, quote unquote, subverted expectations this time around by just taking him out of the picture immediately. But it was kind of weird. Like they didn't. I think Apocalypse they brought up. I think this movie just ignores Apocalypse entirely, which is weird in a lot of ways. Not weird in the sense that like Apocalypse was dog shit, and so we should really like be super beholden to everything that happened in that movie. But I mean, like Xavier's still bald, so clearly it's canon because that was X-Men Apocalypse. If you recall, was the origin story of how Charles Xavier lost his hair.
How did he lose his hair?
That was the biggest plot development. He got into a psychic battle, I think, with Apocalypse. And
almost like the equivalent of Magneto and Jean. Was it like that? Was it just him sitting in his chair screaming?
No, so you remember? I don't remember this. They have a mind battle, and that's where Apocalypse turns like 30 feet tall in Apocalypse, and like they fight in like a hallway, like in the X Mansion, and then Apocalypse like starts growing up, and like he's like 30 feet tall, and he's like, anyway, Apocalypse fucking sucked.
remember any of the X-Men's.
But I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, I was going to say, Apocalypse, I'm pretty sure, had a plot thread where it talks about how Quicksilver is like probably Magneto's kid, never addressed in this film. And there's also the entire resolution of that. The way that Apocalypse gets defeated is that Jean uses what seems to be a thing of the Phoenix Force. You literally see the fucking Phoenix as she fucking beats back Apocalypse, and it, like, they never address that in this movie, and that's kind of weird. Like, the Phoenix Force is this cosmic entity, and I get that. Maybe it exists outside of time and space, so it's some, bullshit where it's not a quote-unquote plot hole. I don't see it. It's not a plot hole at all. It's just a weird thing. Like, I know that the continuity in the X-Men movies has always been particularly fucked, but it's just kind of like, hey, at least, I mean, you literally wrote Apocalypse, dude. Like, it's not like they just changed, everything behind the scenes. It's literally the guy that wrote the fucking movie.
He forgot he wrote it.
It's like, he forgot he wrote Apocalypse. Like, it's wild. It's really, really absolutely baffling. I'd also like to point out, for the record, that this movie takes place in the 1990s, and X-Men First Class took place in the 1960s. I just want to say, Charles Xavier and
Michael Fassbender
and Eric Lensher and Hank McCoy, Beast in particular, they look damn good for being 60 plus years old. They look damn good, if I must say so. Those mutant genes are really working out well for them.
But then they age really hard by the time we get to X-Men.
Mystique is fine because she was always depicted as older, but she can shapeshift. She can do, she can look however the fuck she wants. That totally makes sense. But like for them, like these guys have about 5 years until they turn into Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen. So it's kind of that's pretty fucked.
Age forward.
And Nicholas Holt's going to turn into Kelsey Grammer before long too. So I don't know. Things aren't looking good. They're going to have a rough few years ahead of them, I think. But at least we got Dazzler, singing at the party. So there you go.
I don't remember
Got that. And last thing I have to say in spoilers, because I don't have much else to say, is so they have the shape-shifting aliens, the Not Skrulls, as they should be called. Why? Like, so do you remember that they land on Earth and so they crash the party where Jessica Chastain, Jessica Chastain is. Also, I'm not like I thought they deliberately made up Jessica Chastain to look like an alien, but then they're telling me that she's based off an actual person and she just assumes that form. Like, I'm not buying that. She just looks like an alien.
But she. So what are they?
So they're the Dabari, who literally appeared, I think, in exactly one issue of any Marvel comic ever, in like one panel when Jean, as the Phoenix, was overcome with power and accidentally destroyed their planet. So, like, the most fucking obscure alien species in the goddamn Marvel universe. And she is a character named Vuk, I think. But what the fuck? Like, why were they in the movie at all? Like, what a fucking waste of screen time. What a waste of everyone's time. I mean, I feel horrible for Jessica Chastain, who is great, and I got the It trailer in front of this movie, and she looks like she's going to crush it in that, so good for her. But, like, man.
It's a paycheck, I guess, right?
I suppose, yeah, that's kind of, I mean, they're getting paid, and good for them, but
apparently they
I was blown away by
$200 million.
I think what happened was that they got scared because Captain Marvel did the actual Skrulls, and so there was some last minute shuffling around with what happened in here, because they have the alien form and they can turn into humans, which theoretically they should turn into, they should have also shape-shifting ability if they can do that, but none of them ever use that to their advantage other than to just look like humans. Like, it's at least in Captain Marvel, you had people shifting identities to kind of blend in more so than just like, I'm going to look like Jessica Chastain for the duration of the film, and that's it.
Plot elements based on it, right? These guys did not.
They just wanted to
fight on a train.
That was probably the worst thing for me. Is just like totally half baked. The motivations for the villain completely non-existent,
and they're bulletproof too.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are bulletproof. Some of them aren't.
Some aren't. Yeah. It depends on how many bullets. Like 25, you're okay. 26, you're fucking dead.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
So anyway, this movie kind of sucked.
You know what kind of made me laugh? I laughed a little bit when Magneto crossed the train on him. They're all running around and stuff, and they're in the back of they're in the train. The train sequence.
Third act, yeah, the big train sequence. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
laughed about that.
Magneto in a literal fucking train should destroy everything in sight. It's literally made of metal.
Yeah.
Why is he using 800 guns inside? Just crush them. Everything around you is a weapon, and you could do literally anything with it. You're the worst Magneto ever, Magneto. God.
But he did save those people on that helicopter. He threw them way up in the air.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I have.
I'm
tapped out on the Dark Phoenix, I must say. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you have any exciting things you've been up to lately? Anything? Any goodies you've been watching?
I watched the first new episode of Black Mirror. With,
the new season.
Anthony Mackie.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that one was a little interesting.
It's so fucking goofy. It's so funny. Do you know the premise behind it?
I know, like it's like a video game type thing, right?
Yeah. So they're using the same tech as you saw the episode with the San Paniro or whatever.
San Junipero.
Yeah, where they put the thing on their head and it puts them in a new world.
It's like okay, yeah.
Okay, well they're using that tech for this fighting video game. So he's got this buddy who he hasn't talked to in like 10 years, and he comes to his birthday party and brings him this fighting game that they used to play, and it's got the little thing on it, right? So they're sitting down one night, and he's the guy, Anthony Mackie's playing Tetris, and his buddy hops online. He's like, hey, let's play the game. Put the thing on your head and just prepare yourself. So he puts the thing on the head and he gets transported to virtual reality world, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they end up fighting. They're just like, oh, this is pretty cool. And they start fighting a little bit and everything. Then they start rolling around and whatnot. Anyways, his buddy, who's like, his buddy's like a recording artist, and he's portrayed as like this super masculine dude. He's got this girl who's like 10 years younger than him and everything else. Well, anyways, they get in this video game, and he's a girl, and Anthony Mackie's an Asian dude, and they're fighting and they roll around stuff, and then all of a sudden the girl really puts one on and makes out with him. Anthony Mackie freaks out, right? Pulls the thing off of his head, wakes up, exits the game. Well, he goes into it next night and they start going heavy at it. Anyways, him and his buddy get addicted to banging each other in the video game. And they don't know that. It causes problems in Anthony Mackie's marriage, and Anthony Mackie has to end up back. He's like, listen, it's causing me problems. I can't be banging you in this video game, dude. And then his buddy ends up, there's a polar bear character, kind of like in Tekken. Well, apparently he bangs the polar bear character, just looking for a replacement. He goes into like these online games where it's like a big orgy where a bunch of people are banging each other, and it's like this big thing that they... it's crazy. Some Black Mirror shit for sure. It was pretty funny. It was a pretty funny episode.
Yeah.
At one point, they listen, we need to meet up in person. Are we fucking gay? So they go up and it's raining and they kiss each other and like, yeah, no, we're not gay. We're just addicted to banging each other in the video game. Anyways, that's the first episode of Black Mirror. Hope I didn't spoil anything.
I think you might have, but it's all right. I think everyone's probably more interested in like, oh, I want to watch that now.
Yeah, it's interesting. You don't think about that. What else did I do? I think that's it. I think it's all I've done. Been I try to work out every now and then a little bit.
Get swole.
Went to a wedding. I'm not getting swole. It's not really working for me. I don't know what it is. Probably my diet or something, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, usually helps.
Yeah, well, at least I got physical activity, so. But anyways, that's it. That's all I've got, dude. What have you been up to?
Well, the question is not what I have been up to, but what our listeners have been up to. It's the Listener's Corner.
Oh, nice.
Listener's Corner, take 2. We have received an email from Bruce Brown, a name that seems familiar to me. Can't quite place why. But Bruce has checked in and offered up some thoughts on a couple things, one of which you have watched, and one of which I don't believe either of us have watched. So the first of which is Good Omens. He's chiming in on Good Omens, much as you have done so over the past couple episodes. He says Good Omens is really good. He describes it as 2 top-notch actors with Michael Sheen and David Tennant who have really great chemistry in it. And he says that he didn't know anything about the book, hadn't read it, but says that the show stands on its own, has good humor in it, and the subject of Armageddon lends for a good story. So that's his take on Good Omens.
Hot take. I like it.
So we got another positive recommendation on Good Omens. So sounds like I need to get on it. He also chimed in on Luther. He says that he's a couple shows in of, I want to say 3 or 4. So it's one of those BBC things. I don't know how long this last season was, but he's not digging it. He's not digging it as much. He says
the new season.
Yeah, he says he's watched everything prior to it. Leading up to it. So he says he just doesn't get it this season. He says maybe it's just him, but it's a bit hard to understand what's going on. He says it seems pretty disjointed, and he says, quote unquote, just overall bad. He said he loves Ruth Wilson in it, but her character seems... Craybay, that's correct. Bringing it back. He says her character seems a bit off of her character from earlier seasons, but he says maybe it'll come together, but it hasn't yet. So Luther sounds like he's definitely a bit more down on Luther, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, I suppose, with the rest of the series, I suppose. 2 things I haven't watched, so I can't confirm or deny, but it sounds like you can certainly confirm the Good Omens recommendation. So
yeah, I liked it.
So there's that. If you would like to be part of the Listener's Corner, you can tweet us at WRRPod, send us a message on Facebook at Watch Review Repeat, or send us an email to our Gmail account, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. We will happily take a look at anything you want to send our way, and we'd be happy to, discuss anything that you've watched, anything you've done recently that you feel like you need to share. So feel free to do so. As for what I have been up to, since you did ask earlier, I should answer your question. I have been playing a game that I purchased on the eShop, the Nintendo eShop, a few days ago, by the name of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And let me be the first to say it. It is the superior Phoenix of the Phoenix-related things that we've talked about on this episode, if I do say so myself. As you well know, I'm studying to be an Ace Attorney myself. I'm no Phoenix Wright, I must say, but he's a rookie in the first game, so I feel like I'm learning the ropes with him, and I feel like I'm really going to have a lot of stuff that I can bring into the actual profession from it. So
when you're on trial or whatever, will you point at your witnesses and stuff on the stand? Like he does with the anime fingers? Like
you're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Objection. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay.
I want to come to one of your cases and just watch you be super cartoon-esque. You're lying.
You're lying.
And I can prove it, damn it.
Well, I have a few years before I can potentially do anything along those lines, but rest assured, if nothing else, by the time I'm like a day within retiring, I'm gonna pull a real Phoenix right here. Like, fuck it, I've got nothing to lose at this point. I'm gonna go for it. some real anime expressions, absolutely. So in keeping with the Phoenix theme, Dark Phoenix, Phoenix Wright, I also watched Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And I watched Gladiator with Joaquin Phoenix, because I just thought I'd have a real Phoenix. I didn't do that. I'm sorry, I lied.
Oh, that would have been good.
I just noticed that I was like, oh, Phoenix Wright, Dark Phoenix. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Mostly
Speaking of which, how's that? I wonder how's that Gladiator sequel coming? I haven't heard anything about that, have we?
I don't know. I mean, did you hear about the wild shit that Nick Cave wrote? Like, he wrote like a script where like Maximus time travels throughout.
What?
I don't.
What? Who wrote this?
Nick Cave, he's a musician, I think, mostly. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Not the script itself, just like some slight amount of detail to give you a little bit more than what I just offered. Give me 1 second.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
Okay, here we go. So yes, Nick Cave, who I think typically known as a musician, wrote a screenplay that was a time travel epic of sorts. So here we go. So it opens with Maximus in the afterlife, and then basically he gets okay. He has to kill a god, and then he will be reunited with his wife and son in Elysium, and then he goes to. Oh man, there's a whole fucking article on this. I don't like. There's a lot of detail. Like it's like literally the fucking thing. Anyway, it's absolutely wild. It's a BBC article. Yeah, it looked like a fun thought exercise, if nothing else. Certainly not a movie that was probably ever going to happen. How did we get on the top? Oh, I mentioned Gladiator. That's my fault. Sorry. So anyway, Nick Cave Gladiator 2. Just Google it if anyone's interested. I don't. There's a lot of details there, and I'm not ready to parse through it right now. Other than that, I haven't really watched a whole lot of anything. I watched the Nintendo Direct from E3. E3 happened. E3 2019 happened. So some video game action. Breath of the Wild 2 got announced, which is awesome. Banjo-Kazooie and the Dragon Quest Hero announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is also very fucking cool. All the Nintendo stuff I'm really, really excited for. Fire Emblem comes out next month. Hyped for that. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, hyped for that. The Avengers Crystal Dynamics Square Enix game got announced, like officially revealed. My personal hot take is it looks fucking terrible. The character designs are just trash.
Who is this? What game is this? I'm sorry.
This is the Avengers game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looks fucking bad.
You're not the Avengers.
I don't know. I'm blown away by how bad it looks. Like, I don't see it recovering. Is the thing. Like, send it out to pasture and restart it is kind of my advice based on that. But hopefully, I'm surprised with it. And then I went one day to Wizard World Comic Con in Philadelphia, and had a good old time. Bought a few goodies. I got a couple of Star Wars prints. One of Luke on Crate at the end of The Last Jedi, facing off against the AT-ATs and Kylo and stuff like that. Cool. Super cool. And there's a Yoda and the Swamp and Dagobah, which is cool as well. And then just a couple of I got a couple trades, some comics and stuff like that. And for the most part, I was just walking around the floor doing cool shit like that. Went with Henry and his girlfriend Eastleen. We had a good time, and we saw a Firefly panel with Jewel State, Adam Baldwin, and Sean Marr. So some 3 OG Firefly cast members there, and it was fun. Comic-Con panels can sometimes get a little weird. We only had one question that kind of veered into it, but it was still fun overall. And so I had a good time. With that. But that's about it. That is it. That is all I have.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got. Yeah. Do you have anything else? Did you think of anything else? Sometimes you think of things later on.
No, I haven't been doing much of anything.
All right. Well, in that case, I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, we encourage you to spread the word. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of incentives to offer you at the current moment in time. So my pitch is going to be a little scaled back, but I can tell you that if you want early access to all of our regular episodes, that is always on the table. We're going to be working on some bonus episodes once we get through our Game of Thrones seasons 7 and 8 coverage in the near future. And so of course, look forward to announcements on that front in terms of what we're doing on the bonus episodes. If you do want to support us on Patreon, we are available through our website, www.watchreviewrepeat.com. There's a premium tab in the top left, and there's a Become a Patron button once you click on that, and that'll get you where you need to be. as I said earlier, if you want to chime in, got some things you watched, you want to talk about it, feel free. At WRR Pod is our Twitter. You can send us a message on Facebook or our Gmail account, which once again is watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. And our next episode is a bit of a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool one. This one's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well, I think we're keeping it under wraps for now on what it's gonna be. But episode 100. I mean, if we had put Dark Phoenix at episode 100, that would be a real disappointment, Episode 99, it's fine. We're teeing up some goodies in the future. We have a special episode in store for you guys. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's going to be something a little bit more personal to both of us. It's not something specifically related to movies out in cinemas right now. Maybe it is. I have my doubts. But it's going to be a fun one. Something that we've been tinkering with and thinking about doing for a long time, and it's something that, with the milestone coming along, now feels like the right time. So hopefully we'll be able to get around to recording that before long. In the meantime, you guys just keep living your life. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't watch Dark Phoenix, unless you're at a hotel, but it's not going to be playing yet, so it's not going to do you much good. But for real, look forward to episode 100. We really hope you guys enjoy what we have in store for you. So stay tuned. Until then, Andrew.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Minji.